Latash. Give it out for
Hello, ladies. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Alita, for this amazing opportunity. There was a time in my life where I remember God telling me that I would have to tell my story. All right, and I was like, God, I'm not telling my business. And the Lord reminded me, when you said yes to me, it's my business.
Yes.
And I said, well, okay. So again, I am Kushiro Latash. I am originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up in some projects called Hurt Village. Isn't that something? Said a whole lot, right? Hurt Village, I am the eldest of 5 girls, no brothers, right? I've been mama since about 12 years old. So of course, because of the responsibility that I had, I didn't want children. No. I don't even want to babysit nieces and nephews. But I became the favorite TT, right? Because I love children. Never wanted children. However, God had a different plan. At the age of 7, molested by a cousin. Incest. Middle school, raped by a football player. So here it is, not even really having the opportunity to even find out about me. Right? I was already dealt with this hand living in Hurt Village, surrounded by prostitution, hopelessness. Right? To even share anything in reference to family was disrespectful. Because I grew up in the era, what happens in the house stays in the house. And to share with anyone on the outside, you were being disrespectful to grandma. And I didn't want to disappoint grandma. My mom was there. Granny pretty much raised us. Dad was not there. So I grew up believing that I wasn't good enough. I remember going to the doctor at the age of 15, and I had a hernia removed at the age of 3. And the doctor immediately looked at me and said, oh, you will never have children. Not really understanding that she spoke that over me. At the age of 17, guess what? Got pregnant. Got bored one night, y'all. Went out with this guy. I know this is a church setting, but I said anyway, if you don't get it, you'll get it on the way home. He got super excited the first night. So I said, well, since he got super excited, maybe we'll try it again the next night. So it wasn't a one-night stand, it was a 2-night stand. Got pregnant, and I was devastated. I was scared, because at the age of 12, when my mom decided to do her own thing, I was raising my 4 sisters. My sister had her first baby at 13, second one at 14, so here it is, I'm raising her children. So I had to drop out of school. Here it is, me 17, pregnant with my first baby. Scared. Had him. Even, let's go back a little bit before I had him. 7 months. I moved out of my mom's house and stayed with one of my aunts and was laying on the floor. Started having real bad back problems. My stomach started cramping badly, so I went to the hospital. And out of one doctor's mouth, I heard, you're losing your baby. Another doctor, oh, your baby is gone. Y'all, I lost weight like that. I was no longer big stomach. And I was stressed for 3 days. Until I had this moment and I prayed and I said, God, you allowed my body to go through this for 7 months and to take something from me. I'm already filled with devastation because from a little girl, I've always had something taken from me. 3 days later, I woke up, felt like an extra 10 pounds. I was still pregnant. Had a pretty great pregnancy after that. First boy. Excited, but I was scared. Because I went through so much. I didn't want children because I didn't want my children to experience what I experienced. Nobody taught us how to protect them. No one taught us how to cover them. I wasn't covered. I wasn't protected. How can I do this for this child? But I'm hoping and praying that this is something different. My granny is here. But listen, not knowing that granny was covering up stuff too. Fast forward. Years later, my son wanted to stay with his dad. You know, Mom, we're trying to protect him from Dad. All right? Only thing Dad knew was jail. So I didn't want him to go. Like, son, no, I don't want you to do that. Until I got a call one day. Your son's father was just caught still in a car. Your son is down here at 201 Poplar. Can you come pick him up? My son is 2 years old. Who does that? I was embarrassed. Picked him up, talked to the dad, but I was expecting something. This is how the Lord said it to me. You were expecting watermelon to grow where orange seeds have been planted. So I was expecting him to be a father, but he was never fathered. Had my son, of course. I'm like, no, I'm trying to protect my son. This is my baby. I can't go by what your mom did, what she did not do. I'm still trying to protect, not only because I'm his mother, it's because I know what it's like to be violated and hurt. So I wasn't just a protective mom, I became an overprotective mom. Right? And so my son said, well, Mom, as he got older, he was trying to figure out like why my dad won't do the right thing. She was like, maybe if I go stay with my dad, it'd be different. He decided to go stay with his dad. It didn't work out. So he connected with an aunt who was a police officer. So because I was in ministry, I didn't have a job. I was nobody. But because she was a police officer and she felt like she had more power than God, she went, had paperwork, messed all up, and they took my son from me. Right? Not even knowing if I really want to fight this. So I'm like, God, all of my life, I've been fighting, yet not identified my fight. Staying with his aunt, he realized that the grass wasn't green on the other side. God called me to Atlanta. So I took my 4 girls and my son stayed back, and he was with the aunt during this time, and eventually realized, Mom, I don't think I want to be a part, in this with the family. So he called me one day after he got in trouble. He ended up in the detention center. And this is a son that got bored in class because his mind was so brilliant. I remember a white man telling me, if you don't find something else to do, he's going to end up where you don't want him to be. But how do you house and cover a brilliant child when I'm actually the one who was that as well? But I was the castaway. I was the black sheep. Everything was wrong with me. So now they're saying the same thing about my son. How do I cover and protect him? He decided to move with one of my sisters. I really didn't agree with it. I raised them. But I raised them to love family, right? To be around family. But didn't know there was a difference between family and relatives. Big difference. In Atlanta, started Bible college and ministry full-time. Well, I was pretty much again a nobody because I'm in ministry and I said yes to God. Because I'm not living the normal and regular life, right? I never forget, I was praying about some things and I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to move forward in this particular area? How the girls started a dance ministry, family dance ministry. So they're active. So we're doing quite a few different things, right? Trying to do the right thing. And all of a sudden, I remember getting married and I was in an abusive relationship. And during this time, I had lost my voice again. Right? It was once I got in ministry, found it was taken again. So here I am living in shame. Paralyzed. During this time, the girl's father falsified paperwork and took my girls from me as well. So here I am in Bible college, living for the Lord. And people don't know that I'm barely struggling to get here, but I can't wait to get to be a greeter at the chapel, because that was my only lifeline. Okay. I remember having to go to court to get my children. And so during this time, the Lord had to teach me how to fight spiritually. Because y'all know I wanted to blow the block up, right? Okay, praise the Lord. And I'm just saying, the Lord's still working on it. I'm blowing everybody up. You understand? Everybody can get it. But it taught me how to spiritually fight. So once I learned to spiritually fight, I was released to go. And I remember my ex said to me, you need an attorney. No, my grandma spoke that over me a long time ago. I started taking free law classes. Yeah, little old me that dropped out of high school, 9th grade. Went back to get my GED, cosmetology, first degree. Now I have an honorary doctorate, right? That was little old me, but nobody, right? Because in spite of what I went through, I kept doing the work. That was the biggest thing. I remember preparing to go to court. It was May 1st, 7 years ago. It's like it was yesterday. And I said, God, I'm going to get some money for the girls. Because we had to be in court May 3rd. Get money for the girls. And he said, just give $400. I said, what about my son? Give $400. Give each one of the children $100. I'm on my way to Memphis, Tennessee. I get a phone call. It was my niece calling. I looked at it and my heart stopped beating. Then my sister called. So let me answer. And then she said, your son has been shot in the head. I could no longer feel his heartbeat, so I knew he was gone. He was DOA. They tried everything. Blood transfusion. Did I tell you I was on my way to get custody of my other children when I got the call about my son? So here it is. I'm going in reference to all of my children. So I get there. The sister is telling everybody, don't let the mama in because he's my son. Girl, what? Okay. Let me stay focused. Because my life done shifted and I don't have control. I'm the strong one. I'm supposed to pray for everybody and be okay. I remember walking in and seeing a young man had the same name as my son. He said, Mondus, that's your son? He gonna be okay because we got the same last name. But the baby didn't know that I knew my son was gone. Then I had someone else come to me and say, excuse me, ma'am, we had 2 more that came in that just got shot. Can you come pray for them? The nerve of people, right? But I prayed for them. They walked out the hospital 2 hours later. And here I got to go and identify my son's body. I remember one thing my son said to me. He said, Mama, I looked at him and I said, please don't ever leave me in a place where I have to identify your body. He said, Mama, you won't. And I started to cry. You know what he said to me? Mama, you know how to cry? And I said, what have I been teaching my children? To be so strong that I'm not being human.
Yes.
His daddy and I never got along until that day. So here we are getting along to bury our son. First child. I had someone come up to me at the homegoing service and say, now the Lord can use you mightily because he took your son. Lord, you better get these folks. But he said, I'm teaching you something. She only knows what she knows. But there's going to be one day you'll be able to have a teaching moment with her. Even though I've experienced that, my whole life shifted. Whole life. Never thought that I would ever experience anything. What God gave to me, I feel like something else was taken from me. My son had a tattoo on his left hand that said, "Life goes on." And I said, God, if I could hear his voice one more time, what would he say? And he said, Mama, do what you do best. Speak life. Give life. Resurrect others. Had no idea about donate life. To this day, I have another son who has my son's heart, who moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Ain't that something? The other 3 people across the world, they were all 4 of them were on their deathbed. But because I chose to live life and to receive life, in spite of all that I went through, I was willing to give life again. So yes, it shifted everything for me. Yes, I had to go through a whole lot. Even though my voice was taken multiple times, I was willing to do the work. I had Jesus, but I had a whole lot of therapy too. But I had a community of people who believed in me. And so that's what I do today, is I help individuals to identify who they are in their own story by finding their voice, knowing their value, and walking in their own victory. Because like Alita said earlier, we all have a story that the world needs to hear. Thank you all for allowing me to share.